The storm had been raging for hours, a wild, primal thing that had knocked out the power just after sunset. I had been living in this old house for about 6 months, and while its creaks and groans were familiar, this was my first real blackout. The silence that followed the generator's final cough was heavier than the darkness. I spent the evening reading by candlelight, the flickering flame casting long, dancing shadows that turned familiar furniture into monstrous shapes. By midnight I gave up and went to bed, letting the rhythmic drumming of rain on the roof lull me into a restless sleep. I woke with a jolt. The bedside lamp was blazing, searing my retinas. 2:03 a.m., the power was back. I groaned, rolling over to switch it off, my eyes still adjusting to the sudden, harsh light. As my hand reached for the switch, I saw it, a flicker, not from the bulb, but on the wall itself, a faint, almost imperceptible ripple, like a muscle twitching just beneath the skin. I blinked, rubbing my eyes. Must be a trick of the light, the sudden shift from pitch black to blinding brightness. I turned off the lamp and the room plunged back into darkness, but the image was seared into my mind. Curiosity, that stupid, fatal human trait, got the better of me. I slid out of bed, my feet cold on the old wooden floorboards. I fumbled for the main light switch by the bedroom door and flipped it. The overhead light flooded the room, and there it was again, undeniable this time. The entire wall, the one my bed was against, seemed to pulse. It was a slow, rhythmic contraction, like a giant lung inhaling and exhaling. The floral wallpaper wrinkled and smoothed with the movement. I stood frozen, my heart hammering against my ribs. This wasn't possible. Houses don't breathe. My mind raced, searching for a rational explanation. An earthquake? No, everything else was perfectly still. A structural issue. Maybe the rain had caused some bizarre warping, but this felt organic. It felt alive. I took a hesitant step closer, reaching out a trembling hand. The wall was warm to the touch, and I could feel a faint vibration, a deep low thrum that resonated through my fingertips and up my arm. I snatched my hand back as if burned. A low groan echoed through the house, not the familiar settling of old timber, but a deep guttural sound, like a creature stirring from a long slumber. It seemed to come from the very bones of the house, from the foundation beneath my feet. I backed away, my eyes wide, scanning the room. The pulsing seemed to be spreading. The ceiling above me rippled, the plaster cracking with a soft, sickening sound. The floorboards beneath my bare feet seemed to shift, to squirm. Panic set in, cold and sharp. I had to get out. I stumbled out of the bedroom and into the hallway, flicking on the light switch as I went. The entire corridor was in motion. The walls undulated in a sickening wave-like pattern, the framed pictures tilting and rattling. The runner carpet bunched up and then stretched flat, as if something were moving beneath it. The deep groaning sound was louder here, accompanied by a wet slurping noise that seemed to emanate from within the walls themselves. I lurched towards the staircase, my only way out. As my hand grabbed the banister, it felt slick and yielding, not like wood at all. I looked down and gagged. The polished oak was now a fleshy, pinkish texture, pulsing in time with the walls. The house was transforming. It was waking up. Halfway down the stairs, the lights began to flicker violently. The groaning intensified, turning into an angry, resonant roar that shook the entire structure. It felt like a warning. The house didn't like the lights. It didn't want me to see. Then, with a sound like 1,000 switches being thrown at once, every light in the house went out. We were plunged back into absolute darkness. But this time, the darkness wasn't silent. It was filled with noise. The squelching, shifting, and pulsing were louder, more frantic now. I could hear things moving in the blackness all around me. A wet, dragging sound on the floor, a scraping sound along the walls. The house was free to move in the dark, and I was trapped inside it. I froze on the staircase, too terrified to move, to even breathe. I could feel the air shifting around me, feel the presence of something descending the stairs from the upper floor. I could hear the wet slap of its movement on the steps above me. At the same time, I heard a similar dragging sound coming up from the living room below. I was caught in the middle. A deep, guttural rumble echoed directly in front of me, so close I could feel the vibration in my chest. The house was communicating, not with words, but with pure, primal intent. It was hungry. A cold, slimy tendril brushed against my cheek, and I screamed a raw, ragged sound that was swallowed by the immense, living darkness. I scrambled backwards, tripping and falling down the remaining stairs, landing in a heap on the shifting floor of the living room. I crab-walked backward, my hands sliding through something wet and sticky on the floor. I didn't know where I was going, just away from the things I could hear but not see. My back hit the front door, the doorknob, my only hope. My fingers scrambled for the cold metal, a single point of solid reality in this nightmare. I found it, turned it, The lock clicked open, but the door wouldn't budge. I pulled with all my might, but it was like trying to open a sealed tomb. The doorframe had warped, had grown shut. A low mocking chuckle seemed to echo through the room, a sound made of creaking wood and shifting plaster. The house was toying with me. It had let me get this far only to show me how helpless I truly was. The dragging, slithering sounds were closing in from all sides. I could smell something awful, a coppery, earthy scent, like a butcher's shop and freshly dug soil. The wall behind me pulsed hard, knocking me to the floor. I was lying on my back, staring up into the impenetrable blackness, listening to the sounds of the house closing in. The last thing I heard before the wet, heavy mass descended upon me was the sound of the light switch by the door clicking on, and then off again. A final, playful gesture from the house that was now, and forever, my home, and my tomb. The silence is the worst part. It's a heavy, wet silence that presses in on all sides, punctuated only by a rhythmic, distant thumping, like a giant, sleeping heart. The door I came through. It's gone, just gone. The wall where it stood is now a seamless, pulsating surface of what looks like stretched skin. It's warm to the touch, and I swear it flinched when I first laid my hand on it. Every window is now an opaque, milky eye, staring inward, refusing to show me the world outside. I'm not just in a house anymore. I'm inside a living thing, and I think it's starting to digest. The air is thick, humid, and smells faintly of iron and decay. The floorboards, once solid oak, now squish slightly under my feet, releasing a faint, sweet-smelling fluid. I have to keep moving, have to find a way out. But every corridor I take seems to loop back on itself, the dimensions shifting subtly, mockingly. The wallpaper, a floral pattern I remember from the living room, is now moving. The flowers slowly bloom and wilt in a nauseating cycle, their petals made of something disturbingly fleshy. I ran my fingers over one, and it recoiled, leaving a sticky residue on my skin. That's when I saw the faces, faintly at first, like tricks of the light in the fleshy walls. But as I walk deeper, they become clearer, distorted, screaming faces stretched and embedded within the very structure of this place. They are silent, their agony frozen, their eyes wide with a terror I'm beginning to understand intimately. Are these the others, the previous residents? Are they still conscious in there? One face, horrifyingly close to the floor, has its mouth agape, and inside, I can see the glint of a gold tooth. It's a small, human detail in this monstrous tableau, and it breaks something inside me. This was a person with a dentist. Suddenly, a whisper slithers through the air, and it's my mother's voice. Stay here, darling. It's safe here. My blood runs cold. It can't be. She's been gone for years. The voice is perfect. Every inflection, every gentle lilt, I remember. It's coming from the walls, from the ceiling, from everywhere at once. It's the house. It's digging into my mind, pulling out my most cherished memories and twisting them into weapons. We missed you, it coos. Now in my father's gruff, comforting tone, I clap my hands over my ears, but the voices are already inside my head. It's trying to break me, to make me give up, to become another frozen face in its collection. I start running, blindly, desperately. The hallway ahead transforms into a dark, cavernous tunnel, ribbed like an esophagus. The floor becomes slick and steep, and I slide down into a vast, chamber-like space. The air here is thick with the sound of gurgling and dripping. This must be a stomach, a digestive organ. In the center of the chamber, a pulsating organ-like mass hangs from the ceiling, dripping a corrosive acid that sizzles as it hits the fleshy floor. Around it, half-dissolved furniture and personal belongings float in pools of digestive fluid. A child's rocking horse, a porcelain doll with one eye, a leather-bound book with its pages melting away. This is my only chance. I can't let it win. I have to climb. The walls of this stomach chamber are slick, but they offer purchase. Like climbing a giant, fleshy mountain. The house groans, a deep, guttural sound of annoyance. It knows what I'm doing. It begins to contract, the walls squeezing inward, trying to crush me. The voices return, screaming now, begging me to stop, to accept my fate. But seeing the remains of those who came before me, their faces forever trapped in this nightmare, fuels a rage I didn't know I had. I won't be another decoration. I keep climbing, hand over hand, toward a dark opening above, a possible escape from the belly of the beast. I don't know what's up there, but it has to be better than this. It has to be. Thank you for watching, and if you want to see if I make it out, make sure to subscribe.